Well, yeah, looking forward to going up to Chapel Hill to play. It's an important game for us, as I'm sure it is for them as well. You know, the last time we were up there, we struggled. Didn't particularly play well. They kind of got after us. So, chance to go back and maybe have a chance to try to redeem ourselves. They're a much better team than their record would indicate. When you watch the team, watch them play, I think they're very talented in the offensive skill positions, at receiver and running back. And, you know, defensively for most part, for most of the games, they've kind of hung in there and kept them in the game. So they're starting to get all their players back from the suspensions. I don't think they'll have anybody, maybe one guy out this week. And, you know, I'm sure it'll be a tough game.
Okay. Questions? If you could raise your hand, get a microphone.
Is there anything you could attribute to the slow starts on defense the last couple of games?
They just didn't play very well. I mean,
tackling, that type of thing?
Well, the first series of Virginia Tech, the running play, we missed about 3 or 4 tackles, and then that quick slant, we missed a couple tackles. One guy knocked another guy off. But bottom line is, you know, he just didn't play very well.
Coach, now kind of 8 games into this season, how would you evaluate the defense's overall transition into Coach Woody's scheme?
I think it's still a process. You know, there's a lot of young guys. I think it took a few games to kind of settle in on who was playing. You know, at times they're better than others, just like on offense. You know, there's games where we've played better than some other games. But, you know, I think that overall what we're doing is sound, and I think that it's repetition, and the more they do it, I think the better they'll get at it, you know.
With Andy back healthy at right tackle and Zach, you know, getting more experience at left tackle, have you seen an improvement there at the tackle position?
Yeah, we played better the last couple games. You know, Hazel played maybe about 20 snaps there last game. Hopefully he'll continue to go in there, and for the most part that'll be a 3-man rotation.
Tobias Oliver had a really good game on Thursday. How does that change up the game plan moving forward?
It doesn't change the game plan. I mean, Tobias has played well whenever he's gone in. You know, I think he's played in every game, and he'll play Saturday at some point. So it doesn't really change. We don't change a whole lot what we're going to do depending on who's the quarterback.
To follow up on that, last year one of your frequent comments about Taquan was he tries to do too much at times. How does Tobias fit into that in terms? Obviously, he had a very busy day, but was he also ever guilty of trying to do too much? Did he? It's hard for us to know sometimes on his option list.
It was a little bit of a different game. I mean, you know, Tobias played well. He executed what we asked him to do. The offensive line also played at a high level. When guys around you play at a higher level, then you don't have to stress and do as much. So the A-backs blocked, the offensive line blocked. I mean, Brad Stewart's done a good job block. I mean, so it's different. You know, at times when people stress and try to do too much is when the other people around them are struggling, you know.
You mentioned after the game about, you know, good Georgia Tech, bad Georgia Tech, and I'm curious, does this game give you any more confidence that the good Georgia Tech will keep showing up, or is this kind of
It's why you play the games. I mean, it's you know, if you go back and look, it's not hard when we don't turn the ball over and we don't have penalties. We're usually pretty successful. You know, I was talking last night to Coach Munkin at Army. We were just talking, and he was reflecting on his team. He said even when they weren't very good, he goes, I don't think we ever lost a game that we didn't turn the ball over. And that's such a big, you know, you can look at all kind of stats, but that's about as good as it gets. I mean, that's, probably the biggest one. I would venture to guess if you went back, I've been here, this is my 11th season, if you went back and looked, and I don't know the answer to it, but I bet you if you go back and look, we probably hadn't lost too many when we didn't turn the ball over either.
In terms of, I guess, kind of moving forward offensively, you have the opportunity to play different quarterbacks. And is that going to be a feel thing? Is it going to be
You always have the
situation?
opportunity to play different quarterbacks. I mean,
Well, I guess you have two guys who've earned probably an opportunity to play, I would say.
we'll just go play the game and see. I mean, I don't know that anything's changed. It's like I just said. I mean, they both played in every game what they were available to play. So, you know, we'll just play the game and see what happens. They're both probably, if they don't both play, it'd be the first time all year that when they were, you know, I could have put Daquan in last week at the end of the game, but I wanted to let James play a little bit. He'd taken all the practice reps. So I'm assuming they're both 100%. I have no reason to believe they're not. They were all both released. We'll go practice and get a plan and then go play the game.
There's been a lot of different combinations at the cornerback position.
Yeah.
Moving forward, do you expect to see anything from King or Walton?
Well, Walton's played. He played most of the game on Thursday night.
Right.
You know, we'll see. I'm sure they'll go through practice and evaluate. You know, we'll have a couple of them out there when we start.
You're like most coaches in that you're trying to get your team to play consistently, and you mentioned the good and the bad. I mean, what's that process been like for this team specifically to try to get that consistent play?
Well, I mean, we just got off to such a horrible start. You know, when you start off 1-3, you got a big hole to dig yourself out of. It was frustrating because we let the second game on the road at South Florida get away from us. I mean, you know, anytime you let somebody return 2 kicks for a touchdown, and I shouldn't say we let them, give them some credit, they returned them. But it's like, and then we fought back to get ahead 10 points in the fourth quarter, and we can't finish, you know, for a myriad of reasons. We don't stop them. We also turn the ball over on offense when we're getting ready to go up 2 scores. And then when we get the ball back down 1, we can't take it down and score. So there was a myriad of reasons why we didn't finish. We go up to Pittsburgh and lay an egg for a half. We didn't play very well on defense in the first half either, really. And but offensively, we were horrendous. And you dig yourself a hole. Now you're looking at 1-3. So of the last 4 games, you break the schedule down. Always kind of break it down into thirds. The second third has been okay. We were 3-1. We got bad Georgia Tech against Duke where we've turned it over 3 straight plays. So I liked where we were in that game. Although we weren't playing well, I felt like that we were kind of had the momentum and kind of driving down the field, and all of a sudden, boom, you know, it got away from us. So we'll see. Certainly the last 4 games are going to be tough games. They're against good opponents. But it's like I've said all along, outside of Clemson, everybody in our league is pretty close. I mean, the guys who do that stuff professionally, who lay the spreads on the games, most of them are within a touchdown one way or the other, no matter who it is. So the teams are really close.
In terms of going up to North Carolina, your team's played really well in 2 night games on the road with a little bit of a lively thing. Are you concerned that if it's a dead crowd, you might have to create some energy like a Pitt? I mean, that was sort of situation there too.
You've got to motivate yourself. We've got a lot to play for. I mean, there's, you know, we're still alive in the conference. You're trying to play to get bowl eligible. There's a ton to play for. So, and if you're competitive, you just get another chance to play. So there's a lot to play for.
What have you seen from Elliott at the quarterback position since he's?
I think he's really accurate, especially on short and medium range throws. clearly he understands their system. I mean, he's been in it for a while. And, you know, when you don't get pressure on him and he gets the ball out, he can be very effective. He's probably not the kind of runner they've had in the past, but, you know, they know that too. So, but he's been really effective at times.
I'm curious, you know, you were explaining about Daquan was a starter before, and there's no reason why he wouldn't go back to that. I mean, I'm assuming just that the idea of if you lose your spot because of injury, you get it back when you're healthy is a pretty standard or common way of approaching it.
For the most part, but that's not all it. I mean, you know, Tobias played a really good game against Virginia Tech. Some people have very short memories. Daquan played a really good game against Louisville, huh? So it's like Daquan was pretty good against Bowling Green. He's been pretty good in a lot of games. So it's like I base it off of what we see in practice every day. I base it off of experience. I base it off, are they both very capable? Absolutely. I like both those guys. I wish we had the same kind of depth at every position that we have there. It would be a good problem to have. Now, having said that, when Tobias has gone in, he's done some really, really good things, so he deserves a chance to play too. So at some point, like I said, they're both going to play, but I'm not going to take a senior captain on the team who's a starter and set him down because Tobias played really great against Virginia Tech.
Any other questions for Coach?
I guess you kind of had a similar situation with you know, Justin was far more kind of separated from the other quarterbacks, but Matthew went in and won the game at Virginia Tech, and the next week Justin comes back in and plays. And you had, I guess, some stuff that like midline and things like that Matthew did, maybe a little bit differently. You could use him, but I imagine they're so similar that there's not a huge advantage to maybe playing one over the other.
They're similar, and there's some things that each one can do a little better than the other one. They both have their strengths. But, you know, you base the thing, Tobias is still a redshirt freshman, right? We forget he was third team going into the season when Luke got hurt, right? It wasn't. So to his credit, he has gotten so much better from fall camp to right now. It's not even close, but just from an experience factor. Identifying defenses, checks, coverages, all that kind of thing. The guy who's played the most is going to be more experienced. And what Tobias can bring to the table is he's gotten much better at that. And he's also really tough. He's slippery. He's elusive. He's hard to tackle. And he gets north and south. You know, so he's got a lot of good things going for him too. It's like I said, it's not denigrating one over the other. They both can do some things that are positive. If you ask us before the season started, you know, who's your 3 or 4 best players on the team, I don't think anybody would have left Daquan out, right? So it's like, and Tobias has pushed himself up to the point where, you know, he's played really good too. So it's a good problem to have. You got 2 good players.
Anything else?
Curious, after the game, Ricky Walker, and I think maybe Bud Foster also said this, I think he actually said this too at the halftime to the ESPN reporter about you were blocking things a little differently or giving them a different wrinkle. Was that the way you do in the sweeps or?
We weren't running sweeps. We were running a different option, but if everybody wants to call it a sweep, that's cool.
Anything else?
I mean, were you blocking any differently or doing anything different today?
Not any differently than we've done all year. We just hadn't run it a lot.
Defensively, kind of what have you seen from North Carolina film, and anyone kind of catch your eye?
They're experienced up front when they have all their guys. You know, I think that they've got a lot of good athletes who can run. They've had a lot of success putting pressure on quarterbacks when you throw the ball. We've had a hard time getting on their linebackers the last couple of years when we played. They've kept them pretty clean. Other than that, it's kind of go play the game. The team that's, I don't think anybody's going to surprise anybody. You know, the team that can execute the best is take care of the ball, probably going to win.
With them, they very much have their backs against the wall as much as you can. And Fedora's shown kind of a knack for maybe trying crazy plays and trick plays, gadget plays and things. Is that something you warn your defense about?
You just got to be ready to play. I mean, you know, if you watch college football now, there's a lot of people who throw flea flickers and backward passes and double passes and those kind of things. You know, we usually carry some of that ourselves. We just haven't run it much. But I don't think they're going to beat us with trick plays. You know, I'm sure that if you ask Larry, he'd tell you if they're going to beat us, they're going to beat us executing their offense and their defense.